serta tenaga kependidikan Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat, serta yang kami banggakan, peserta serta mahasiswa Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Andalas. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the second webinar of Faculty of Public Health Universitas Andalas in topic of tailoring nutrition strategies to enhance health outcomes. This webinar is also intended to connect the scientists from the field of nutrition, public health, as well as professionals from various spectrum. And ladies and gentlemen, to get to know us better, we would like to show you our video profile. So ladies and gentlemen, please enjoy the video.
Selamat datang di Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Andalas. Moto utama, mandiri, unggul, dan bermartabat.
yang kirim foto.
Selamat datang di Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Andalas. Berlokasi di Limau Manis dan Jati, Kota Padang, Sumatera Barat, Indonesia. Lahirnya Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Andalas berawal dari berdirinya program ilmu kesehatan masyarakat di Fakultas Kedokteran pada tahun 2000. Hingga pada tahun 2012, Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Andalas resmi didirikan dengan moto utama, mandiri, unggul, dan bermartabat. Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat terdiri dari 2 departemen, yaitu Kesehatan Masyarakat dan Gizi. Dengan 4 program studi unggulannya, yaitu S1 Ilmu Kesehatan Masyarakat, S1 Gizi, S2 Epidemiologi, dan S2 Gizi.
Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Andalas memiliki moto sebagai institusi yang mandiri, unggul, bermartabat, serta bereputasi internasional melalui miracle, khususnya di Asia Tenggara tahun 2029. Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Andalas memiliki berbagai program studi unggulan dan menjadi salah satu yang terbaik di Indonesia. Hal ini terbukti dengan akreditasi unggul yang telah dicapai.
Untuk menjawab tantangan perkembangan kesehatan masyarakat, Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Andalas menghadirkan tenaga pengajar yang unggul. Laboratorium K3 dan Kesehatan Lingkungan. Laboratorium Audiovisual. Laboratorium Epidemiologi dan Penelitian. Laboratorium Gizi. Laboratorium Komputer. Ruang baca. Fasilitas keuangan. Fasilitas akademik. Ruang sidang. Ruang dosen. Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Andalas memiliki 11 lembaga kemahasiswaan. Terdapat lembaga yang berfokus pada bidang legislatif dan eksekutif, serta beberapa unit kegiatan mahasiswa yang mencakup aspek kerohanian, kepramukaan, jurnalistik, olahraga, dan kesenian. Termasuk klub yang mendukung pengembangan minat dan bakat mahasiswa, baik dalam bidang bahasa, intelektual, dan promosi kesehatan. Mari bergabung dan memberi kontribusi bagi kesehatan Indonesia bersama Fakultas Kesehatan Masyarakat Universitas Andalas.
Baik, terima kasih Bapak Ibu. Ladies and gentlemen, to start our webinar, we would have an opening speech which will be delivered by the Dean of Faculty of Public Health Universitas Andalas to Dr. Dian Gusta Anggraini Nursal MKM. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you. My voice is clear?
Jelas Ibu.
Oke. Oke. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Good afternoon, distinguished guests, esteemed speaker, and all participants. First and foremost, let us express our gratitude to Almighty God, for the blessing that allow us to gather here today for this international webinar titled Investing in Nutritional Health as a Foundation. Okay. Okay, it is so
Menulis. Pasti makan podcastnya kan?
I'm sorry. Let me begin again. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Good afternoon, distinguished guests, esteemed speaker, and all participants. First and foremost, let us express our gratitude to Almighty God Allah for blessing us that allow us to gather here today for this international webinar titled Investing Nutritional Health as a Foundation for Nation Development, organizing by Faculty of Public Health Universitas Andalas in collaboration with University of Science Malaysia. Salawat and salam upon our beloved Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Please blessing upon him who has guided us to the path of knowledge and wisdom. I would like to extend a warm welcome to our honored speakers. Dr. Nurul Husna Safi and Professor Dr. Rimbawan and Dr. Jeliza Mutia Azra, our moderator, the organizing committee, and all participants. It is a great honor for us to host this event, which reflects our commitment to change public health through nutritional science. The topic we are discussing today is incredibly relevant and vital in the context of national development, where nutritional health serves as a fundamental pillars. I hope that through this webinar, we can share knowledge, experience, and innovative solutions in the field of nutrition, aiming to support
Dari
sustainable
Unan Mulia.
public health development. The collaboration between Universitas Andalas and University Science Malaysia is testament to remarkable achievement we can accomplish together. This webinar is a part of a series we're organizing by Faculty of Public Health, Universitas Andalas, and I encourage everyone to participate in our upcoming webinar, all of which offer in the free of charge. I would like to extend my gratitude to the speakers, moderator, and all those who have the contribute for the organizing this webinar. Additionally, I appreciate all the participants for dedicating your time to join this event. May this event run smoothly and provide significant benefits for all of us. Enjoy the webinar, and may our discussion today bring the new inspiration and insight. Thank you. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much, Dr. Dian. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was the opening speech from our Dean, the Dean of Faculty of Public Health Universitas Andalas. So, let's proceed to our main session, that is the panel sessions. For today's session, we will have a topic in tailoring nutrition strategies to enhance health outcome. But before we start our panel sessions, I would like to welcome our distinguished speakers. We have Professor Rimbawan from IPB University. Assalamualaikum, Pak Rim. Prof. Rimbawan. Our next speaker is Dr. Nurul Husna Safi from University Putra Malaysia. Assalamualaikum, Dr. Nurul.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
How do you do? I hope you're great. And our last speaker will be Dr. Jaliza Mutia Azra from Universitas Andalas. Assalamualaikum, Bu Jeje.
Waalaikumsalam, Bu Risti.
So, ladies and gentlemen, today's session will be moderated by Fadila Amelia, Master of Medicinal Science. So, Bu Met, Prof. Rimbawan, apakah sudah dapat mendengar suara kami? Prof. Rim?
Ya, sudah jelas suara saya terdengar.
Terdengar, Bapak.
Oke, baik, thank you.
Terima kasih, welcome to
Oke.
Universitas Andalas, Pak Rimbawan.
Thank you very much.
Semoga sehat-sehat terus, Bapak.
Okay, thank you. Same to you.
So, ladies and gentlemen, our session will be moderated by Mrs. Fadila Amelia, SGZ, Master Medicinal Science. To Mrs. Fadila Amelia, are you ready? How are you, Mrs. Amel?
Good.
Okay, so time is yours.
Okay. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Before we begin, I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge and thanks our Dean, Dr. Dian Gusta Anggraini Nursal MKM, the Vice Deans, the Education, Student Affairs, Research and Community Engagement Managers, the Human Resource, IT, Alumni and Collaboration Managers, the heads of department and program directors, our amazing faculty members, and of course, all the participants here today. Thank you so much for joining us for this important webinar on nutritional interventions to tackle nutrition and health problems from research to actions. I'm Fadila Amelia, and I'm honored to be your moderator today. We are about to embark on an enlightenment panel discussions. The session will be feature distinguished speakers who are expert in the field, sharing the research and practical insight. Let's engage with these valuable perspectives to enhance our understanding and applications of nutrition strategies. For the first speaker, we will have Dr. Nurul Husna Shafi. She comes from Department of Nutrition, Faculty of Medicine and Health Science, University Putra, Malaysia. She attains PhD in Pharmacology from University Putra, Malaysia in 2013. Currently, she is working as a senior lecturer in Department of Nutrition and Dietetics. She will talk about nutrigenomics approach for the prevention of chronic diseases. After her sessions, we will immediately open a Q&A sessions for 1 to 2 questions. So, if you have any questions, please type in the chat column with the format your name underscores your institutions and underscores your questions. I hope it clears. And now, please welcome Dr. Nurul Husna Shafi. The time and screen is yours.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon to everyone. Okay, first of all, I would like to thank to organizing committee from Universitas Andalas for inviting me as a speaker to this webinar. All right, without further ado, let me share the slide first. Oh, sorry. Okay. Right, can you all see my slides?
Yes.
All right, okay. So today I'm going to share with all of you, on the rules of nutrigenomics, how nutrigenomics can help us, in disease prevention. All right, so first of all, when mentioned about nutrigenomics, right? So what is actually nutrigenomics? So it's actually the interaction between gene and a diet, our foods that we eat. Okay. And first of all, when we mention about gene, right, so we should know on a little bit or recall on DNA, right? Okay, so actually we are about 99.9%, okay, that have same genetic makeup with each other. Okay, meaning that we are differ to each other, okay, in terms of our gene is only 0.1%. Okay, so what makes these 0.1%, okay, that make us differ to each other is from the incidence of nucleotide polymorphisms. Okay, single nucleotide polymorphism, or we call these as SNPs. Okay, so based on this nutrigenomics, okay, the gene and diet interaction, okay, SNPs, okay, the difference from our gene, okay, that will make us respond differently to the foods that we eat. Okay, so it's not only foods, okay, that we respond differently based on our SNPs. Okay, but we also respond differently to other environmental factors. Okay, for example, to toxins, okay, to the viral infections. Okay, so that's why some individual will have different degree of infection by viral, okay, due to these SNPs, okay, or single nucleotide polymorphism. Okay, some of us can respond differently to the foods that we eat. For example, okay, some get benefits, okay, from PUFA-based foods, okay, the omega-3, omega-6, but not to other individual. Okay, so what makes this different in terms of response to dietary intake is based on our SNPs. Okay, it's not only SNPs, okay, but also based on our SNPs, right? We also have different risks of developing certain chronic diseases. Okay, because now, right, SNPs has been discovered, okay, associated with various chronic disease. Okay, for example, there are SNPs, okay, that can increase risk of heart disease, increase risk of diabetes, or even cancer. Okay, so knowing the SNPs, okay, because different individual have different SNPs, right? Okay, not only it's have respond differently to the foods, okay, to the nutrients, have a different risk to the disease. Okay, SNPs also make us respond differently to the drugs. Okay, for example, two diabetic patient. Okay, one of the diabetic patient can benefit from metformin. Okay, another one is not benefit from metformin prescription, for example. Okay, so that is actually due to the SNPs. Okay, so knowing the SNP also, we can also track the inheritance of disease genes. Okay, for example, whether our parent generation, okay, is that this disease gene, okay, can be passed to the children generation. So we can know all of these information, okay, from these SNPs, okay, the difference on our genes, okay, the 0.5%, okay, that make us differ to each other. Okay, actually, okay, let me tell a little bit on how SNPs can occur, right? So you can see the first DNA sequence, right? Okay, this is the normal DNA sequence. Okay, for the SNPs, okay, this is frequently occur, okay, in human, right? A little bit recall on the genetic knowledge, right? So our DNA sequence, okay, are made up from the nitrogen base, right? Guanine, cytosine, adenine, or thymine, right? So it can be substitute or replaced by another nitrogen. Okay, this substitution we call this as SNPs. Okay, so let's see on how these SNPs, okay, can actually, okay, help us to prevent the disease. Okay. All right. Okay. So based on SNPs, right? So each of us, okay, are either one of these three types of genotype. We can only have one genotype, okay, from the same gene. Okay. So SNPs, right? It's either we are 0 copy individual, or 1 copy individual, or 2 copies individual. So we are either one of these genotypes. Okay. So based on this statement, right, the more the copies of the SNPs, right, it will increase the risk of disease actually, or the traits. Okay. So let's see example. Okay. Okay. Again, okay, based on these three types of genotypes, right, we are either one of these again, right? The health consequences, okay, health impact, right, from these different genotypes, okay, it can be beneficial or improve effects, or it can be neutral effects, or it can be harmful or impair effects. So depending on which genotype that we carry, right, will determine, okay, what is the health consequences. Okay, but again, okay, there are studies, okay, nutrigenomic studies that give evidence on certain nutrients, okay, that will benefit, okay, what type of genotype, okay, from the SNP. So I will give example, okay, for example, right, so this is identified SNPs, okay, that involve in folate metabolism. Okay, we know that folate is important for us, right? Okay, so it's one of the micronutrients, the vitamins, right? So when we eat folate, right, not all of us actually, okay, can have a good metabolism of folate. Okay, again, depending on our genotype, either genotype type 1, type 2, or type 3. Right. Okay, so based on the folate, the SNPs, okay, identified SNPs in this MTHFR gene, okay, that involved in folate metabolism, okay, the type 1 is we can consider as the normal DNA, okay, type 2 is one copy individual, type 3 is two copies individual, okay. From the studies, right, it's proven that, okay, the genotype type 1, type 2 and 3, right, can increase the risk of developing this disease. Okay, the neural tube defects, okay, Down syndrome, CVD, and cancer. Okay, again, we are either one of these genotype. Okay, if we are carrier of the genotype 2 and 3, we can increase the risk, okay, to get these diseases. Okay, so this is one example. Okay, another example is involving, okay, the response of our gene, okay, to the diet that we take. Okay, for example, the omega-3 fatty acid, right? We get a lot of omega-3 fatty acid from fish, okay, from mackerel, from salmon, from tuna, right? The fish itself give us high omega-3, okay, from plant oils, okay, from soybean oil, okay, from flaxseed oil, okay. We get those, okay, when we eat, we get those omega-3, okay, but not all of us, okay, can benefit from the omega-3. Okay, the general recommendation, okay, they will say that omega-3 is good for your health. Okay, but okay, it's actually depending on the genotype, okay, on the SNPs. Either you are genotype 1, 2, or 3. Okay, so there are studies that show that the 3 genotypes, okay, type 1, okay, this one, type 1, okay, type 1, type 2, and type 3. Right. Okay, for type 1, okay, there are epidemiology studies, okay, cross-sectional studies on women, okay, the women that have type 1 genotype, okay, when they eat the PUFA, the omega-3 rich diet, okay, they can get increase of HDL. Okay, HDL is good cholesterol, right? So they can benefit from the omega-3 intake. Okay, but okay, another woman that has the type 3, okay, genotype, all right. So actually, when they eat the omega-3 fatty acid, right, they tend to decrease the good cholesterol. Okay, decrease of good cholesterol, HDL, will increase the risk of cardiovascular disease. Okay, so that's why the recommendation, okay, the conventional, right, okay, everyone have to increase intake of omega-3 is not reliable because it's actually depend on the genotype. Okay, some individual can benefit, okay, from omega-3, but another individual, they get harmful effects if they take a high PUFA or omega-3 diet. Okay, that can increase the risk of getting CVD. Okay, this is one example on one SNPs, okay, that can associate with the CVD risk. Okay, another example. Okay, this one, right? On the interaction, okay, between carbohydrate diet, okay, there are epidemiology study on a woman, right, that take more than 65 of total energy from carbohydrate. Okay, and then again, okay, the individual are based on these 3 genotype, right? We are either type 1, okay, or type 2 or type 3, right? So based on these studies, right, the type 2 and type 3, okay, the 1 copy individual, 2 copy individual, right, increase their fasting blood sugar, fasting blood glucose, okay, compared to type 1 carrier. Okay, meaning that, okay, the carrier of a type 2 and type 3 genotype for this particular gene, AMY1, right, they tend to get the diabetes, okay, if they take more than 65% of total energy from carbohydrate intake compared to type 1. Okay, type 1, okay, the fasting blood glucose is normal, so they don't have the risk to get the diabetes, even though they take more than 65% of carbohydrate intake. Okay, so this is based on the studies, okay, between the gene, okay, and also the diabetes risk. All right, okay. So, for us, right, we know that, okay, our health condition, okay, our health condition is good. Okay, we don't have diabetes, we don't have heart disease. Okay, our blood pressure is all okay, normal. Okay, but when you do the genetic testing, okay, the DNA test, right? So you will see, okay, what are the potential health risks, okay, based on your genes. Okay, as I mentioned, right, we are either one of the genotype, okay, type 1, type 2, or type 3, right? Okay, so even though our checkup, right, our medical checkups giving us a normal, right, the good health condition, right, it doesn't mean that we don't have the risk to get the disease, okay, but when we do this DNA testing, right, so for example, right, the common health risk, okay, for this individual, okay, the health is normal, okay, but when they do the DNA testing, that they found out that these individuals have high cholesterol, okay, tend to have risk for getting hypercholesterolemia, okay, not even hypercholesterolemia, but also other disease, okay, for example, allergies, migraine, okay, hypertriglyceridemia, okay, influenza susceptibility, okay, not only giving the information on disease risk, okay, but the DNA testing also, okay, based on 3 genomic study, right, will give us the information on dietary sensitivity. Okay, either we have salt sensitivity, caffeine sensitivity, okay, lactose intolerance, okay, gluten intolerance, and many more. Okay, that's why some individual, right, they said that, okay, this food is salty, but not other individual. Okay, because of their salt sensitivity is different, okay, based on their gene, okay, their SNPs. Okay, and we can also check, okay, our skin health, okay, whether this individual can have a risk, okay, in acne, sunburn, okay, and many more. Okay, many more information can be obtained, okay, from the DNA testing. Okay, so I give examples on the report on this DNA testing, on how it can help us to personalize our food intakes. Okay, for example, okay, this is when I work with the genomics company, right? So, based on the DNA profile, right, we can know whether, okay, when you do genetic, the DNA test, right, DNA screening, okay, you will get the information on the genetic profile. Okay, for example, it will give information based on the nutrient or dietary intake, okay, based on your genotype. Okay, for example here, right, it gives information on whether this individual can have food craving or not. Okay, some individual don't have high food craving due to your genotype. Okay, if you have a variant, okay, the genotype that can increase of food craving, right, so you tend to eat more, okay, that will increase risk of getting obesity and many more other disease. Okay, so this is one example, right, based on the dietary intake. Okay, okay, based on the saturated fat, right, saturated fat, okay, not all actually can benefit, okay, from the fats that we eat. Okay, for this individual, okay, based on the SNPs, okay, right, so he or she carry all the 0 copy or 2 copies individual. Right, so based on these SNPs, right? So if one copy or two copies individual, they increase the risk to get the disease, right? Okay, so for this one, right? If this individual take high saturated fat, right? They tend to get risk of obesity, okay, or increase in the BMI. Right, but for the individual that don't have this genotype, right, they are okay if they eat saturated fat. Okay, so we can suggest to this individual that have risk, okay, if they eat more saturated fats, right, they can modify their diet to low fat diet. Okay, because this individual, if they take high fat diet, they tend to increase in BMI and also risk of obesity. Okay, all right. Okay, other examples not only on saturated fat, okay, but there are SNPs that associated with MUFA, okay, monosaturated fat. There are SNPs that are associated with PUFA, okay, polyunsaturated fat. So depending on which genotype, okay, type 1, type 2, or type 3, okay, that will respond differently, okay, to the diet that we eat. Either we get the improved effects, okay, the beneficial effects or the harmful effects. So we should know what is our gene so that we can avoid, okay, from eating those foods that will increase risk of getting chronic diseases, okay, and we can personalize, okay, nutrition or dietary recommendation to that individual. What is good for he or for her, right? Okay. Okay, from the genetic profiling, right? We do not just know about the recommended nutrients, okay, what is good, what is the foods that good for us, right? We can also know the risk of getting chronic diseases. Okay, actually up to now there are more than 100 types of chronic diseases, okay, that are associated with various SNPs, okay, various genes. Okay, for example, this particular individual, right, they have lots of SNPs, okay, that either one copy or two copy individual that can increase the risk of getting colorectal cancer. Okay, when this individual get these results, right, so uh, uh, they actually have a risk of getting colorectal cancer. Okay, this is based on my one of the client lah. Okay, so they actually when he get this result, right, so he has actually increased risk to get colorectal cancer, right, so he immediately go for the health screening, okay, the scan, okay, the scanning, okay, to the colon, right, so he discovered that the doctor discovered that, okay, he got polyp, okay, polyp, colorectal polyp, so he removed that polyp. Right, so this is actually will give, okay, awareness, okay, to the individual, okay, whether they have risk or not, okay, and what types of disease, okay, that they are increased risk, okay. So more awareness and give can advise, okay, for further recommendation. Okay. All right, so from genetic testing, okay, it's not only the diet, the disease, okay, we can also know our athletic performance, okay, whether we are good for the endurance sports, okay, or strength sports, okay, not only on sports but also on cognitive performance, on other talent. Okay, normally children, okay, the parents go for this genetic testing to know the talent for the children. Okay, is it good in arts, good in memorization, good in music? Okay, all are depend on our gene actually. Okay, so this one is the package, okay, for the exercise, okay, and you will get results like this now, okay, what are the genes that involve, right, and then you will get the information, okay, to improve your performance, okay, the exercise performance, okay, what types of diet, okay, that can be recommended, Okay, again, this is personalized nutrition. Okay, based on this individual only. Okay, based on their gene. Okay, and this recommendation cannot be advised to the different individual because different individual may have different gene, right? Different SNPs. Okay. All right. It's not only exercise. Okay, what is good. Okay, the sports. What is good for individual. Okay, we can actually know. Okay, the um effective drugs. Okay, that can be prescribed to patient. Okay, because based on genotype. Okay, again type 1. Okay, type 1. Okay, 0 copy individual, type 2, 1 copy individual, type 3 is 2 copies individual, right? Okay, so from the same drugs, okay, not all individual can benefit. Okay, even some individual can get adverse effects. Okay, if you give same dose, same drug to different individual. Okay, some individual can have a normal dose of one drug, okay, but not other individual, okay, because based on their gene, they are poor metabolizer for that drug, right? If we give the normal dose to that individual, right, it will lead to toxicity, for example. Okay, the only chance that how we know this is from the DNA testing. Okay, so that's why it's more to personalize. Okay, we can advise pretty much everything, okay, in terms of personalized health. Okay. All right, again, okay, the traditional recommendation, okay, one size fits all. Okay, for example, do exercise, okay, eat low calorie diet. Okay, this is no longer valid for all individual because, okay, based on our DNA, right, we are differ to each other. We respond differently to the same diet, right? So we should move towards the personalized nutrition. Okay, so from the nutrigenomic study, right, we can actually give, okay, the personalized nutrition. What is the best diet, okay, to that particular individual? Okay, because traditional model, right, exercise, okay, eat low calorie diet cannot benefit to all individuals. Some will get benefit, some will have neutral effect, no benefit at all. Some will have harmful effects, okay, adverse effects from the same recommendation. Okay, but okay, for the personalized nutrition, right, based on the nutrigenomics and nutrigenetic study, right, we can give different recommendation to different individual. At the end, all of these individual can get benefit, okay, from personalized nutrition. Okay, again, towards the our concern is towards the prevention of chronic disease. Okay. All right. So what is actually a public health concern, okay, about this personalized nutrition or personalized dietary recommendation? Okay, how costly will be this personalized nutrition, right? Okay, in Malaysia, actually, it's now because lots of company, right, offer this kind of service, right, personalized health actually, right, the DNA testing, right, will cost about in Indonesia in rupiah, I think 3 million, 3 million, 3 million, about less than 1,000 ringgit Malaysia. Okay, you invest 1,000 ringgit, about 3 million rupiah, right? You will get all those information. Okay, you will know, okay, what foods that you can eat, what disease risk that you can have. All right, okay, what the best medicine, okay, because the particular especially for cancer treatment, right? So now we do not know what types of chemotherapy that best for each patient, right? At this stage, we can give try and error, okay, but with this information, the DNA information, we know, okay, what is the best drug to treat that particular disease to that individual. Okay, so from this, right, it will will be motivated, okay, to use the personalized diet, right? So is it approach, okay, this personalized nutrition approach will be available for rich and well educated, right? And how actually to educate people. So this is the main concern for public health issues, okay? Not only in Malaysia but worldwide lah, okay, towards the prevention of disease. Okay. I think that's all lah for my sharing today. So if any questions, okay, yes, I think that's all. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Nurul Husna for the great presentations. It's such an insightful presentation for us. And now we will open the floor for questions, one or two questions. So for the audience, please raise your hand or type your questions in the chat box and I will address them to our speaker. Jadi bagi para partisipan, jika ada yang ingin ditanyakan, silahkan mengangkat tangan atau boleh mengajukan pertanyaan di kolom chat dengan mengetik nama underscore asal institusi underscore pertanyaan. Dipersilakan untuk 1 sampai 2 pertanyaan terlebih dahulu. Oke, sepertinya partisipan masih bingung ingin menanyakan apa. So, I personally interested with your presentations on how knowing our gene can help us better understanding the health outcomes that will come in the futures. So, my question is, what challenges or maybe ethical considerations exist in implementing nutrigenomics in public health strategies, especially for chronic disease preventions? As you mentioned earlier, that it might be costly, and I think that it can only be reached by high socioeconomic people. And as we know that the high risk come to any layer of society. So can you explore and explain more about it?
All right. Again, when come to cost, right? It's not the concern. It's the everyone concern. So that's why okay. To tackle this awareness, right? Okay, we should increase the awareness to to the public, right, to do the genetic testing. Okay, for example, of course it can be started, okay, from the hospital. Okay, for example, the patient, okay, that come to hospital, okay, government support, okay, to do this kind of genetic testing, right? Because all it's not involved in what we call even invasive or the dangerous procedure. Even now, okay, from saliva, from ileum, right, itself, we can do the genome sequencing. Okay, so it's easy, okay, to get the results, but the concern is the cost. Okay, for example, in Malaysia, right, what they did, okay, in terms of to attract public, okay, to do this when we go for the health insurance policy. Okay, when we buy health insurance, right, some of the insurance provider, right, will give a package, okay, to their client to buy this insurance, and then they give a free genetic testing. Okay, so this is somehow helped, okay, to increase awareness, to promote to public, okay, to do this genetic testing. Okay, without the information on our gene profile, we cannot give this personalized recommendation actually.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Nurul, for your explanations. And now we have two questions in the column chat. I will read the first one from Bapak Firdaus. He is one of our lecturer in Department of Nutrition. The question is, if someone has parents who have a hereditary disease, for example, DM, which is passed down genetically to their children from their parents, when will the innate potential be expressed as a disease? That's the questions.
All right, so DM, right? It can be the inherited one is type 1 diabetic. Okay, so actually there are studies that have discovered SNPs, okay, that are associated with type 1 diabetes, type 2 diabetes. Okay, so type 2 diabetes is more to environmental factors. Okay, for example, if type 1, yes, it can be inherited, it can pass from our parents to children generation. Okay, so normally type 1 will it will appear immediately. Okay, the children, okay, children age also, okay, they tend to see the symptom, the problem, right? Okay, for type 2, okay, the non-inherited one, right? So when we do genetic testing, right, we see the individual is a carrier of the one copy or zero copy, right? But they don't have the type 2 diabetes at that time. Okay, but they know they have risk, okay, based on their gene. Okay, they carry the one copy or zero copy genotype, right? Okay, so they from the beginning when they do, they can have the risk of type 2 DM, right? So they can practice healthy lifestyle, okay, from the earlier life, so that okay, they towards the end, right, they don't have the DM, type 2 DM. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much. And I think we have still time to answer one more questions. The last one comes from Taskia. She is also a lecturer from Department of Nutrition, Universitas Andalas. The questions is, are there any programs from the governments or institutions in Malaysia related to the applications of nutrigenomics?
Programs, okay, actually now there are lots of studies, okay, in Malaysia, right, that tackle on this nutrigenomics study, right? Okay, for example, my own research team, right, we look at the potential of CVD, cardiovascular disease risk, okay, risk, okay, to in among the type 2 diabetic patient. Okay, whether the type 2 diabetic patient, right, do they can also get the heart disease? Okay, so if they can get the heart disease, okay, is it contribute from the gene that they carry? So this is kind of a research study that our team currently conducted. Okay, but again, okay, based on this nutrigenomic study, right? Not I can say that not many studies, okay, that are conducted among Malaysian. We still have very limited human genome database, okay, so that we can work more on this nutrigenomic study. Okay, it's still limited in Malaysia, but we are towards that because now the cost is reduced, okay, because lots of company offer the same service, so they compete each other, so they have to give low cost so that they can sell their product, right? But it's increasing.
Okay, Dr. Nurul, and I think the discussion is getting more interesting and the questions comes. Do you still have time to answer one more
Sure,
questions?
can.
Okay, the last question maybe we get from Gantina from Universitas Indonesia. She said that thank you for Dr. Husna's very fruitful presentations. Her question is, I would like to ask about nutrigenomics. Can nutrigenomics also be used to find out the potential for having children along with the right diet for a pregnancy program?
Okay. All right. Okay, it's actually start from the early of life actually, right? Okay, for example, of course, okay, these the recommendation, okay, the studies, the epidemiology studies that I mentioned, okay, in my presentation just now, right? Mostly are from the either Western countries, Western population, or Asian, okay, China part population. Okay, in Malaysia itself, it's still limited. Okay, limited on this nutrigenomic study among Malaysian population. So all the data is actually we refer to the Asian database actually. Okay, but towards if this can increase awareness, okay, among our own population, okay, Indonesian population, Malaysian population, because we have different, even in Malaysia we have different ethnicity. Right. So based on the genetic profile that I work for my client, right? There are Chinese, Indian, or Malay. Okay, even we are Malaysian, okay, but due to the ethnicity different, right? They actually have different genetic makeup. Okay, so it's actually important first, okay, to create our database for our population first. Okay, so that whatever nutrigenomic study, right, so it can be recommended based on our population. Okay, even for example the carrier, okay, for example it's increased risk of getting autism. Okay, now autism is increased, okay, in Malaysia, right? So we can even know, okay, what is the potential of disease, okay, or even the SNPs, okay, that can be passed, okay, to the next generation. Okay, so of course the mother, the father themselves, okay, have to have know their own gene first, right? And then, okay, they can either um, uh, prevent, okay, for the risk of disease to their children. Okay.
Okay, thank you very much for your explanations, and I hope your explanations have answered all the questions. And thank you very much for coming for this webinar. And we hope to see you in the futures for more discussion about nutrigenomics and also sharing your expertise in this area. Thank you very much, Dr. Nurul. Okay, our next speaker is Professor Dr. Rimbawan, who will elaborate on nutritional interventions to tackle nutrition and health problems, from research to actions. He attained his PhD in nutritional biochemistry from University of Nottingham, England. His research interest is in the area of nutrient metabolism, functional foods, school and workplace nutrition program development, and nutrition and health policy. Prof. Rimbawan is being a professor in the Department of Community Nutrition, Faculty of Human Ecology, IPB University. So please welcome Prof. Rimbawan. The time and screen is yours.
Okay, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good afternoon, everyone. Is my voice clear to all of you? Hello, can you hear my voice?
Yes, Prof. It's
Okay,
clear.
thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much, Miss Fadila Amelia. Thank you, Dr. Dean, the Dean of the Faculty of Community Health, and also all of the staff members and the audiences. So I would like firstly to thank the organizing committee to invite me to be the speaker. And my topic, I hope, will not be very difficult, yeah, as like Dr. Nurul's topic, yeah, about nutrigenomic. And I would like to share some of the result of my own result of the research. Yeah. Okay, I would like to share screen without further ado. Can you see the screens already?
Yes, Prof.
Okay. Okay, the titles given to me is the nutritional, sorry. Yeah. Intervention to tackle nutritional and health problems from research to actions. And I will divide my presentation into four subtopics. I will start with the health and nutrition profile in Indonesia, and then followed by the understanding the multidimensional, multi-factor, and multiple burden of health and nutrition problem in Indonesia. Then I will go to the nutrition intervention programs based on our research, and I will be finalized with concluding remarks. Okay, let's go with the first one, the health and nutrition profile of Indonesia. And I think all of us has already been familiar with the result of the data here. The first one is about the family wellness, that birth delivery at health facility in Indonesia is still quite low. It's around 42%. And the antenatal visits of the pregnant mother is not good. Yeah, we have the figure as 40.48%, while the complete neonatal visit is only around 43%. How about the exclusive breastfeeding baby? It's enough actually, but not good enough. Yeah, about 67%. And the full primary immunization is only 28%. And we still have the problem with underweight and severely underweight toddlers. It's around 7.6%. While if you look at the percentage of the adolescent girls receiving the iron folic acid tablets, it's very low. It's only about 20%. And then the pregnant woman who received the iron folic acid tablet is only 79%. This is the number of the percentage for the receiving the iron folic acid, not the percentage who consumes of the iron folic acid. And we still have the problem with short and very short of our under 5 years children's, yeah, and also the wasting problems. Then if we look at the prevention and control diseases, TBC or tuberculosis is still the big problem for Indonesia, even though the coverage is around 51% and success rate is quite good, yeah, around 82.3%. And others we have handled it quite well, especially when we have the COVID-19 pandemic last few years ago. Yeah. Then, ladies and gentlemen, the nutrition issue in Indonesia is highly complex. Yeah, the country continues to face challenges related to undernutrition, overnutrition, and also what we call as hidden hunger, where the individuals may appear healthy, but are actually suffering from micronutrient deficiency. This is what refer as the triple burden of malnutrition. In terms of undernutrition, Indonesia's stunting prevalence is still high. Like we see in our screen that on 2023, it's still on the 21.5%, while the target of our government actually 14%. Yeah. And the same problem also affect malnutrition in terms of wasting, as we can see, yeah, actually increases from 2022 to 2023. It's quite alarming for us, yeah, so we have to deal seriously. Then in terms of the overnutrition, we can see here overweight trend among under 5 years old children in Indonesia. So in the last year, 2023, even higher than 2022. So if we look at the anemia trend among the pregnant women in Indonesia, it's still quite a significant problem for us, even though it's quite lower than 2018, but the percentage is very high. Yeah, it's around 27.7% in 2023. So we have the problems of, we call this as triple burden of malnutrition. Then if we look at the further data we have from the Institute of Health Metrics, yeah, from 2009 to 2019, this last 10 years, we can see here that the diabetes increasing, very sharply. It's around 50% increasing. This is the number 3 as the leading causes of the death in Indonesia, where the first one is stroke and second is the ischemic heart diseases. So if we look at these figures on the screen, we can see that the non-communicable diseases are dominated the death causes of Indonesia, yeah. And infectious diseases, maternal and neonatal nutrition is getting less and less actually. If we look at the risk factors, then we can see these figures, yeah. We have the metabolic risk and environmental or occupational risk and also behavioral risk. When we look at on the behavioral risk, we can see tobacco, dietary risks, and malnutrition are dominated. Yeah, but when we look at the metabolic risk, we have high blood pressure, we have high fasting plasma glucose, we have high body mass index, and so on. Yeah, this show us that we have the problem of the way we are eating actually. Yeah, too much fat, too much sugar, or too much salt, maybe. Yeah, that as we can see from these figures. So when we combine one another, we can see that the connection between excess sugar, excess fat, and excess salt actually strongly linked to dietary habits of our dietary habits. Yeah. So, and they are interrelated each other. Further, if we look at the trend for overweight, obesity, and diabetes, they look quite similar. Yeah. When the overweight increasing and also obesity increasing, then we have also the increasing percentage or the numbers of diabetic people in Indonesia. Yeah. Then we have the data that our people actually, have less physical activity. Yeah, as you can see here, only 62.6% sufficient physical activity. Yeah, and then 37.4% actually deficient. So we actually mentioning in bahasa Indonesia, we enjoy mager, ya, malas gerak. Yeah. Then we look at the multidimensional, multi-factor and multiple burden of health and nutrition problem in Indonesia. As we can see here, that when we discuss about the causes of nutritional and health problem in Indonesia, there are, multidimensional causes. And there are root causes, indirect causes, direct causes, and outcome. When we look at the root causes or akar masalahnya, yeah, we can see this can be sociocultural, economic, and political. Also, the poverty, food security, and so on. Then indirect one, when people, do not have the good availability of food and also the consumption patterns. And also we have some problem with environmental health and healthcare services, like I mentioned, yeah, first slide, yeah, and then the parenting and feeding practices. So they all were directly causing the low food consumptions and also increasing the infection status. Then we'll go to the outcome as not good or low nutritional status. Then if you look at this data about the nutritional status of pregnant women residing in Bogor district that our study a few years ago, we can see here the data that energy and protein intake decreases along with the decline of economic quintile in woman, yeah, whose wanita usia subur, yeah, and also in pregnant woman. So we can see that the calcium and vitamin intake actually lower in Q2 than Q4. That's meaning that the economical status also influence the nutrient intake. Then when we talk about nutrition, this is a very, very important topics for all of us, learning about nutrition or working a nutrition subject. As we can see that nutrition actually is at the heart of all SDGs. And every $1 invested will give $16 in return. So in all numbers of the SDGs target, nutrition, play a very important role here. Further, if we look at these figures, we can see that the poor nutrition can lead to metabolic adaptations. Our first speaker mentioning Dr. Nurul about the nutrigenomic, and she also mentioned some of the related topics. We'll look at these figures. Yeah. This is a complex physiological response that occurs throughout the life cycle of a malnourished individuals. As we can see from these figures, that as malnutrition persists, then the body undergoes structural and functional changes to cope with the scarcity of nutrition. Yeah, and this can include loss of muscle mass and decreased organ functions, and also impairs immune response, which may further increase the susceptibility to chronic diseases, and then will not give benefit for our country development. So I think we learned about the Barker theory, right? So when the baby actually, born with a low birth weight and continuing, having problem with undernutrition, then it will be easier to get the what we call this, the non-communicable disease in later life. Yeah. This show us that in summary that of our finding, even in Indonesia and also Malaysia, that the nutrient intake of pregnant and lactating women actually is still below the recommendations. Further, if we look at in Indonesia, the data that we did a study a few years ago, the prevalence of anemia, iron deficiency, and zinc deficiency, and vitamin A deficiency in Bogor area is quite significantly high. When look at the body hemoglobin level, the serum of the ferritin, vitamin A deficiency, and also zinc deficiency. Yeah, this was in pregnant woman and also pre-pregnant woman. Then the systematic review also show us that Indonesians pregnant women also having problem with the prevalence of vitamin D deficiency. Yeah, it's quite high here. Yeah, it shows us that the prevalence is around 63%. Yeah, so it's quite high, even though we are very rich with sunlight. Then from CNATs too, we also see that most of countries in Southeast Asia, they actually have the similar problem with micronutrient deficiency, even though the level actually different, one another, between countries. And this data, we just received it in 2023 and also 2024, based of study of our students at IBB Bogor, when we analyzed the serum or blood sample of the under 5 years old children, based on the Riskus DAS 2018. So we collected the blood sample at that time, and we kept the blood sample in minus 80 degrees Celsius, and then we just analyzed a few months ago. And consistently, we can see here that we have the problem of vitamin A, vitamin D, zinc, and also iron and also calcium deficiency in Indonesia. The highest problem is zinc and iron deficiency. Similarly, when we analyze the data from the blood of school-age children, we have similar case that the iron and zinc deficiency are among the highest deficiency in Indonesia. Yeah. Now the biochemical status parameters show the iron and zinc deficiency were also prevalent among pre-pregnant women and also pregnant women. So actually, the problem of micronutrient deficiency in Indonesia is not a single problem. So we cannot say that in Indonesia that pregnant women only deficient in iron only, but basically we have more than one, even 5 or 6, deficiency. So this is in line with the statement what we have from McCollums in 1918. Long time ago, who observed that malnourished population often suffer from deficiency in more than one micronutrients. So not only just one micronutrient deficiency. As we can see, our study all show us that the problem of micronutrient deficiencies actually coming from more than one nutrients. So we have to be careful and considering this, that we sometimes think that when we see people with obesity or overweight, it seems for us that they have, over nutrition. They have more than required. You know, actually, when people having obesity, we can see here, yeah, research show that a person with obese can also suffer from micronutrient deficiency. Why? This is due to the imbalance of nutrients consumed daily. When people have poor quality of diet and they are obese, so they have alteration in the metabolisms and also higher nutrient requirements. Some also have a problem with higher inflammation status. So they need more vitamin and mineral to deal with the changes. So now we learn that even though, yeah, we we mentioned that obesity is overnutrition, but actually they are lacking some of vitamin and minerals in their body. Yeah, this is the data. As we can see that people with obesity, yeah, they may have the problem or deficiency in vitamin B1, B6, B12, and so on. And so also zinc, chromium, and selenium. Even for the diabetes mellitus, they also have the problem, especially with vitamin D and chromium here. Yeah. So we understand now that when we call that overnutrition, it doesn't mean that they fulfill all of the nutrient requirements or more than required. Okay. Then we continue with the nutrition intervention programs. Yeah. So I will limit our discussion with fortifications, supplementations, and food-based approach. Fortifications, what I would like to share with all of you is the addition of vitamins and mineral to the carrier foods. And then supplementation is administration of vitamins and mineral at specific doses intended for specific groups. Normally, the dosage is quite high than normal. Then food-based approach, when we do the nutritional intervention with complete nutrition or complete food, as we call this. Yeah. So the focus of intervention program in Indonesia is, I think, we all know that to tackle the iron deficiency anemia, we have the iron folic acid supplementations. For the iodine deficiency disorder, or we call this in Indonesia as GAKI, gangguan akibat kekurangan yodium, then we have, many years program that we call this iodine fortification and salt. And then for vitamin A deficiency, especially for the under 5 years old children, we have the vitamin A capsule supplementation programs. We also have, program of the vitamin A fortification and cooking oil, but the programs on and off sometimes. Yeah. And then the focus for the food-based approach, what I would like to mention is I will concentrate on the RUTF and also for totally food-based approach. But in Indonesia, we have also programs about the supplementary feeding program for pregnant mothers and also for the children under 5 years old. And our Ministry of Health has also released, the program, what we call this as the pedoman gizi seimbang or nutrient balance role here. Yeah, when we have the tumpang gizi seimbang, yeah, and also we have the isi piringku or my plate. In addition to that, we also have the programs run by our Badan POM or Indonesian FDA, the inclusions of nutrient reference values on food label. This is the mandatory for Indonesia for the, putting the nutrient reference values on each packaged food, in Indonesia. And they may also put the what we call this as front of pack labeling, yeah, as we call this here, that we have the healthier choices in Indonesia. We have also what we call this monochromatic way, and also soon we will have Nutri level where we have the different color, just like the traffic light color, but soon will be released. Yeah. Okay, start with the research on the use of multi-nutrient in supplementation and fortification product. Yeah, these are some of the research done by our students under my supervisions. We can see here, so we combine iodine, selenium, methionine, and some other minerals, and showing that by putting several minerals and vitamin all together, the result will be better, showing the good response that the subject actually have limitations in providing the requirement for those nutrients actually. Then when we look at our program in Indonesia, we have the iron folic acid programs, yeah, but some of our students actually adding some more nutrients, either vitamin or minerals. And we look at on the left side here, the iron folic acid, vitamin B6 and B12 actually give the better at reducing free radical content and significantly increasing iron status in pregnant women compared to just iron and folic acid supplementation. So this is the base information that by adding some other vitamins or mineral, we can improve, the outcome from our supplementation programs. On the right side, we can see when we add, several vitamins, including A, D, E, B, C, and folic acid, together with zinc, iron, copper, and also iodine, then we can see the result that administration since preconception or early pregnancy results in lower blood glucose levels compared to just iron and folic acid supplementations, meaning that by providing, all of the micronutrients, that will prevent the risk of what we call this as gestational diabetes mellitus. Yeah. Then other study also mentioning, the results, by involving the multiple micronutrient supplement interventions. Yeah, we call this as MMS. We call this as multiple micronutrient supplements here. And we did, several study in Indonesia and of course in other countries. Yeah, and showing the better results by using that MMS compared to iron folic acid only. Yeah, so I don't think that I will read one, every result of the study, but this is some of the result that I collected, yeah, and showing that by providing the MMS supplementation in pregnant women, they will increase the birth weight and also some other good results. Yeah. This further, we can have the result that MMS and iron folic acid are actually equally effective in reducing the risk of anemia during pregnancy, even though the content of the iron in MMS actually only half of the MMS, as we can see later on here. Yeah. There's some other results, mentioning the administrations of micronutrient supplement shows better results in preventing infant mortality compared to iron folic acid, and also improving the motoric and cognitive abilities in children where the parents or the mothers had the MMS intervention during pregnancy or during lactations. And luckily, starting on the 24th of June 2024, our Minister of Health has released a decree regarding the standard of micronutrient supplement for pregnant women. So we are happy to have it. And this year we are going to start, by initial stage in several provinces and more than 200 districts in Indonesia. And I'm also lucky, to be involved with the technical instructions, providers here that I lead the team for writing this technical instruction or penulisan petunjuk teknis. Yeah. Okay, then showing the activity related to the programs. The food-based approach. So food-based nutrition interventions program are an approach used to improve the nutritional status of community through food diversification, food complementation, and complete food formulation. First, I would like to inform the program what we call this. We use the formulated complete food, what we call this as RUTF, or ready to use therapeutic food. Where the other things, we also done activity in the pondok pesantrens, or Islamic boarding school by improving the menu, especially for the lunch at that schools. Okay. This one is what we have been doing, for the last 4 years. Development of local ready-to-use therapeutic food formulas. We call this, the title is the Bregas Nutrirol. Bregas is the Javanese term. Yeah, Bregas is when you are into enthusiasms and you are strong, something like that. So what is RUTF? RUTF is a nutrient-dense food enriched with micronutrients for therapy of malnourished toddlers according to WHO standards. And we developed this, for about 3 or 4 years. Yeah. How can we use the RUTF? RUTF can be used in the rehabilitation phase, of when the children having the problem of the wasting. So if we have the problem with severe acute malnutrition, then we may use RUTF or Formula 100, we call this. In the stabilization, we may use the Formula 75, and the transition, we may use F100, Formula 100. In the rehabilitation phase, we may use RUTF or F100. So RUTF actually the more convenience to be used, because the parents will not have to prepare for themselves. This one, the route we have been doing so far, starting from 2020, and then until now, we are still developing and still, proposing for the patent, actually. Yeah. And this from the laboratory base scale to pilot plant and also to industrial scale productions. So we have been able, to produce a quite high capacity of the RUTF. This one is the compositions, and also all of the nutrients as required by the WHO standard have been met in our products. Yeah, this the vitamin and mineral mix we included in the products, and this all has fulfilled the process for industrial food. Yeah, including the capacity, including the GMP, SACCP, and ISO 22000, and also, of course, for the halal requirement. And we did some intervention programs in several provinces, including West Java, East Java, and also in East Nusa Tenggara. And the nice thing that we have from the study is, compared to other products, our RUTF actually have the best palatability for the children, and they can improve the body weight, not different significantly with other or standard RUTF. And further, we did not only in Bogor, but also in East Nusa Tenggara, the one with yellow and green color. We can see here that our RUTF actually can also reduce, the anemia status of the children who consumes the products, in addition to improving the body weight, improving the body length, also improving what we call the MUAC. Yeah. Then, therefore, we can propose that our local RUTF product has been able to meet global standards and has the potential to be used in addressing malnutrition issues in toddlers or children under 5 years old in Indonesia. And we work together with several institutions and also NGO to produce the good quality product and ready to be used for our children who have the problem with severe acute malnutrition in Indonesia. So the second one I would like to share is about our school lunch programs as a comprehensive approach to tackle nutrition program in Indonesia. This is kind of model program makan bergizi that we have now in Indonesia, but we did earlier, starting 2018, and currently we have covered around more than 30 pondok pesantren or Islamic boarding school, when we also provide the book or guidance, for the nutrition education, for the school lunch menu, and also for educations, and also for how to prepare the good food for the pondok pesantrens. Yeah. And basically, this some example we show to all of you that before and after, where we can improve, the menu, the sanitation and hygiene, and the way they produce, and improving the nutrient contents of the food over there. And then the result is quite good that they reduce the underweight and also improving the normal nutrition status of them. And then we also improve, the hemoglobin level, by providing the lunch, better lunch menu for the school students, staying in the dormitory at Pondok Pesantren. And the percentage of students who have skipping lunch and consumptions of the animal protein, vegetable, and fruit is also improving. And we also ask the students, to do the basic, sanitation and hygiene, activities at their pondok pesantren, and showing that the attitude, knowledge, and practices is getting better. And also we also published already, in one Q1 Scopus journal. And I have also the opportunity to be invited by the Prime Minister of Japan to share the results, in Tokyo, where at that time we have around 55 countries also visiting the venue when I share the result of this study. Yeah. And finally, I will go to the conclusion and recommendations that for strengthening and developing for strengthening and developing future nutrition interventions, we have the challenges in addressing nutrition and public health issues. First one is precision of assessment. And then we also have to consider the appropriate policy specific for each area. And so we have to improve the precision of interventions. And finally, what I would like to share about our recommendations to strengthen the intervention program. First, we have to consider the ecological factors and interaction between nutrients. These are important factors, and formulating food-based approach for the intervention program, because we learn from our studies that in Indonesia, people are not having only one micronutrient deficiency, but multiple micronutrient deficiency. And what we call this nutrition problem in Indonesia are not limited to simple paradigm, too much or too little, but we have to consider the interaction between nutrients in the food. And therefore, a holistic and integrated approach is needed so that nutrient intervention not only prevent nutrient deficiency, but also improve overall. And finally, we have, to have a big efforts, to continuously update the Indonesian food composition table. I hope you agree with the final recommendation here, because our food composition table is actually lacking a lot of nutrients compositions in the table. So I would like to end my presentation. Thank you very much. So I will give it back to the moderator. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for Prof. Rimbawan for a very comprehensive presentations addressing and explaining about nutrition issue in Indonesia, its intervention program, also bringing to the table about the interesting research finding and the future directions. So if you have any questions, please save it for the last because no, we are going to have our third speaker, Dr. Jeliza Mutia Azra. She will present on plant-based protein for optimal nutrition from global trends to local potentials. Dr. Jeliza is currently a new lecturer in the Department of Nutrition, Universitas Andalas. She got her bachelor, master, and doctoral degree in community nutrition from IPB University. So for Dr. Jeliza, the time and screen is yours.
Thank you, Bu Amel. Is it my voice clear enough? Because
Yes.
it's heavy rainy here.
Yes, it's clear.
Okay. Okay. Good day, good afternoon, everyone. The Honorable the Dean of the Faculty of Public Health, Andalas University, the Honorable the lecturers and staff of Public Health, Andalas University, and also the participants. Thank you for the opportunity today. I'm Jeliza Mutia Azra from Department of Nutrition, Faculty of Public Health, Andalas University, and this occasion, I would like to share about a plant-based protein for optimal nutrition from global trends to local potential. Okay. This talk will highlight how the shift toward plant-based proteins addresses critical global and local challenges related to health, nutrition, and also the sustainability. Let's start with the introductions. The human population continues to grow, and so do our demands on natural resources. The agriculture and food sectors play an important role to addressing these demands, yet they are also linked to have many environmental challenges. For example, agriculture is responsible for a significant portion of greenhouse gas emission and resource use, such as water and land. And animal-based food production, in particular, has a substantial impact, contributing to deforestation and biodiversity loss. With the SDGs goals, food and agriculture are tied to several goals, such as zero hunger, and then clear water, responsible consumption and production, and also the climate actions. Together, these goals point toward one major solution, which is the shift toward plant-based foods and proteins. Okay. The global shift toward plant-based foods is driven by the need for more sustainable and health-promoting food systems. Extensive evidence shows that reducing meat consumption and increasing the plant-based food intake can benefit both for the health and also the environment. And although historically animal protein considered an essential dietary component that providing vitamin B12, iron, and zinc, however, overconsumption of meat, particularly processed meat, has been associated with certain deleterious health consequences. This is an expert said from Niru Rafi from Boston Consulting Group. He said that replacing traditional meat and dairy product with alternative proteins is one of the best tools available to combat the climate crisis, and increasing the global market share of alternative proteins from 2% today to 8% by 2030 could yield an emission reduction equivalent to decarbonizing about 95% of the aviation industry. So an alternative protein companies must find a way to attract mainstream consumers. Okay, this data from Andreni et al. 2023 result that about the global plant-based protein trends. Between 2019 until 2021, there is a rapidly growth for the plant-based proteins, and the focus is more for the new product launches and also the new formulations. And several countries that are lead for the plant-based protein trends are France, UK, and also the Germany. And the products were ranging from the general plant-based proteins, also the patty or burger alternatives, sausages alternative, meats alternative, until the meatballs alternative. So there are many areas that potential to improve to make a plant-based product alternations. And what about Indonesia? The trend plant-based protein in Indonesia is equally fascinating. By this figure, we can see that the consuming of plant-based protein in Indonesia is quite high in the cereal, pulse, and also the tubers. And also it's going increase by the younger and also in urban activities. So Indonesia also potential to produce plant-based protein such as mimicking the animal protein. Okay, now let's move on to the comparing of the plant-based protein with the animal protein. With this table, we can see that the animal proteins has a superior benefits than the plant-based proteins in terms of the amino acid and also the bioavailability. However, the plant-based protein also has an advantages because it's rich in the dietary fiber and also the antioxidants. So the key is we have to understand how to combine the plant-based proteins to optimum the nutritional or the nutritional completeness, even though there are the difference between the animal proteins and also the plant-based proteins. Okay, now what about the health benefits of the plant-based proteins? I'm sure that all of you quietly understand what is the health benefits of the plant-based proteins, but in this occasion, I would like to refresh about the health benefits of the plant-based proteins. From the study of Xiao et al. 2023, the results is about animal proteins product and also plant-based protein product as an alternative to animal proteins has a quite different if it compared. First, by nutrient comparison, the plant-based proteins, most of the plant-based proteins are incomplete proteins, and then the plant-based proteins are usually deficient in one or more essential amino acids, and then the plant-based proteins are less digested and absorbed than animal proteins, and plant-based proteins tend to be combined with carbohydrates, while some animal proteins coexist mainly with fats, such as fat from fatty meats, fats from milk, egg, yolk, and etc. So to optimize the nutrient in the body, need to nutritional supplementation. However, the plant-based proteins also have some bioactive compounds that make benefits for the health, such as it can reduce the cholesterol, it has anti-cancer, anti-diabetic, it has a benefit for gut modulation, also the anti-inflammation, and also it has good benefits for anti-obesity, reducing cardiovascular disease, and also antioxidant and also anti-aging. So there are so many bioactive compounds in plant-based proteins that can optimize the benefits for health. However, the plant-based proteins also have many health concerns because it also have anti-nutrients, contaminants, allergen, and adding ingredients. But we can reduce that health concern by retouching an advanced technology process. So can reduce the contaminants, allergen, and the anti-nutrients. So the plant-based proteins can partially or completely replace animal proteins products and are processed in such a way that they are nutritious, safe, and contain a high level of active ingredients, which can satisfy human dietary and health needs. And this is also the results of Lee et al. 2024 about the health benefits of plant-based protein. In the nutritional properties, plant-based proteins rich in protein and also the balanced amino acids. And for the functional properties, it's also good for emulsifier and also the encapsulants. So they using for the plant-based proteins could be in wide range for application in foods. And for the processing, to increase the digestibility of the plant-based proteins, can use several methods such as heating, germinations, fermentation, and also extrusion. So it can change the solubility and structure of the proteins and increasing the digestibility of the plant-based proteins. And for the bioactivity in the plant-based proteins, the mechanism for the health benefit of plant-based proteins, because it has antioxidants to reduce the free radical like ROS, and also for the anti-inflammatory, it can reduce the pro-inflammatory cytokines like tumor necrosis factor alpha or TNF alpha, and then the interleukin 6 or IL-6, and also for anti-diabetic, it can inhibit the alpha glucosidase and alpha amylase that related to the carbohydrate digestions, and also for the antihypertensive, it can inhibit it ACE, and for the anti-cancer, it can increase the caspase-3 and also reduce the IL-6, IL-8, and also BCL2. So this is how plant-based protein can reduce the risk factor of the disease. Now let's move on to the plant-based protein sources. So there are so many plant-based protein sources. Before we continue for the plant-based protein sources, there are 3 types of plant-based proteins. First is plant-based, second is cultivated, and then is fermentations. So what is the difference between the plant-based, cultivated, and also the fermentations? For the plant-based protein, it's like the proteins from plant that produce to mimicking the traditional animal proteins, like from the texture, taste, flavor, and also the how can I say that the taste of the plant-based protein is mimicking the animal based proteins. And about the cultivated proteins, it was produced from the cell. So it cultivated by passing the livestock farming, because it's produced from the cell. And fermentations is using microorganisms to make rich proteins such as tempeh and etc. And moving to the plant-based protein sources, there are so many sources for plant-based proteins, such as cereals, like wheat, corn, oat, rice, and barley, and then legumes like soy, peas, beans, chickpea, and so on, and also from oil seeds, nuts, pseudo cereals, tubers, and also other sources like major fruits and also the vegetable. So Indonesia also potential to make a plant-based protein, because Indonesia is abundant of biodiversity from the plant-based protein sources. And to make a plant-based protein, there are also several opportunities in emerging protein sources. And among the plant-based protein sources, the soy is gold standard for the plant-based protein, because it has an excellent protein concentrations, an excellent PDCAS, commercial stage functionality, and also a global crop volume. However, it also has a fewer allergen risk and low of flavor. And the others of plant-based proteins also has several, all of them also have an excellent protein concentrations, and also has a good of PDCAS, low or pure of allergen risk, and also has a good functionality. So yeah, so many potential of plant-based protein sources to develop to make plant-based protein products. Okay, this is the results of the Halizet all 2007 about what is the plant-based proteins that growth in Indonesia. There are so many plant-based proteins like from nuts in Indonesia, like cowpea, lap bean, string bean, and also bambara groundnut or kacang Bogor, and also fava bean, and also pigeon pea or kacang gude. And yeah, it's so potential to develop. But to develop plant-based protein products, it's also not without the challenges. It has several challenges to make a plant-based protein or plant-based products. And one of the area that are quite high demand in plant-based protein product is plant-based meat. What is plant-based meat? Yes, plant-based meat is produced directly from plants. Instead of relying on animal to convert plants into meat, we can make meat more efficiently by skipping the animal and turning plant ingredients directly to meat. So the the plant-based meat, like animal-based meat, it also composes some proteins, fat, vitamins, minerals, and also water. And perhaps next generations, plant-based meats also have a look, cooks, and taste like a conventional meat. So there is no difference can be detected by the consumer among the plant-based meat and also the animal-based meat. So we have to aware that there are some parameters that we have to pay attention because there are so many parameters to can we optimize to make plant-based proteins, including the protein content and quality. What about the nutrition and claims? Is it have an allergenicity and intolerance? And what about the consumer perceptions? What about the availability? Is it easily enough to get? And what about the safety, the cost? And not less important is what about the sensory, from the aroma, flavor, texture, mouthfeel, and also the color. And like I mentioned in the slide before, that soy is the gold standard plant protein. So it until now, the soy still be the superior to be used for the plant-based proteins because it has a good properties such as from the viscosity and water binding, the gelation properties, emulsification and foaming, flavor binding, and also the earthy and bitter. And from the nutritions, the soy also has a good PDCAS, about 0.84, and also good limiting amino acid, and could be applied in the dressing, beverage powder, and also it can be produced to make a texturized for meat replacement or extension. However, once again, there are so many plant-based protein sources that also could be enhanced to be explored. Okay, and for the plant-based meat and fish, several parameters that we have to consider. First is compositions. Is it the texture-based protein, fat binder, flavor, salt, preservative, and also color? And what is the expectation of the consumers? Is it have characteristics, flavor, texture, and also the appearance? And also provides protein, fat, and iron like an animal protein as usual? And also, what about the consumption? Is it a center of plate? And also the intake of muscle and areas of opportunity to make a plant-based meat and fish is texture, flavor, variety, experience, cost, health, and authenticity to make a good plant-based meat and fish. Okay, and the last, I would like to share about one of my study as an action in the plant-based protein. So I make an alternative plant-based products, which is chicken breast sausage substituted with pigeon pea flour. So in this study, we have substitute the chicken breast sausage with pigeon pea flour from 0% until 100%. And the results, by replacing partial of the chicken breast with the pigeon pea flour until 50%, it has a good enough results because it has a good quality of proteins and also the sensory, and also it can increase the dietary fiber. However, it's not compromising the consumer acceptance. So it quite of potential to develop in the future. But in this study, we still not analyze the antioxidant yet. Perhaps future we can analyze any parameters to ensure that this chicken breast sausage substituted with pigeon flour could be potential enough for plant-based protein products. And in conclusion, the plant-based proteins are not just a trend. They are a pathway to sustainable, health-focused nutrition. By combining global insight with local resources, we have a power to transform food system and improve health outcomes. Okay, maybe that's all about my presentation. Thank you for attention. I give back to the moderator.
Okay, thank you very much for Dr. Jaliza comprehensive presentations. And now we open the floor for the Q&A sessions, and we already have 3 questions on the chat column. And the 2 first questions will be for Prof. Rimbawan. I will read the questions. The first one, thank you, Prof. Rimbawan. It was interesting topic. I would like to ask our questions, especially in obese and diabetes, associated with micronutrient deficiency and obesity condition. Is macronutrient supplementation effective for obesity and diabetes therapy? Silakan, Prof.
Yeah.
Rimbawan.
Yeah, thank you very much, Mbak Puspita Mardika. Yeah. Yeah, thank you very much. As we learned already that there are risks of obese people to have micronutrient deficiencies, right? Yeah. So it depends on the type and kind of micronutrient that are deficient actually. Yeah. So what we can do, we may provide food that are rich in those micronutrients, or by providing the supplements containing the micronutrient in concerns, if we have difficulty in providing the whole food. So I would suggest, to provide the deficient micronutrients by having food first. Yeah, if we cannot find the right food, then we start to use the food supplement or health supplement. Yeah. So regarding the diabetes, some studies suggest that to provide the chromium supplements, because chromium actually is required to improve the glucose metabolism for diabetic people. And we have studied a few years ago, and for the diabetic people in Bali, it shows that the longer or the more serious the states of diabetes, then the chromium level in the diabetic people is getting lower and much lower. So therefore, we actually agree with the conditions or the situation that when people having diabetes, they tend to have lower chromium status. And therefore, sometimes we need to put more chromium in the diets or by providing the supplements containing chromium for the diabetic people. Yeah, that's what I can answer for Puspita. Yeah,
Okay, Prof. We will go
yeah,
directly to the second
yeah,
question for you from Wanda Lasepa dari Universitas Pahlawan. Thank you,
yeah,
Prof. Rimbawan, for the insightful topic. I believe that TBM is a relatively new topic and it should
yeah,
be overcome immediately to prevent any kind of
yeah,
multiple burden of malnutrition.
yeah,
What I would like to ask is, what if TBM occurs in a household level? What is exactly the intervention that government
yeah.
should do?
Okay, thank you very much, Wanda. I do agree with you actually. And I think that the question is what we can do if we find the TBM occurs in one household, meaning that in the one household, there are three different problem of nutrition, yeah, undernutrition, overnutrition, and also the what we call this micronutrient deficiency. So I would suggest that we should differentiate the consumption patterns of the individuals having different problem of nutrition. So we should differentiate, the foods that we provide for those who have the problem with overnutrition, different from undernutrition, and also different from those having the micronutrient deficiencies. And for undernutrition individuals, so I would suggest to provide a more nutrient dense food, yeah, such as increasing the total calorie, increasing the protein in food together with vegetable and fruit, of course. And for those having the obese or overweight, we should reduce the total calorie intake, of course, especially fat and carbohydrates, and but increasing the dietary fibers consumptions. And just like in undernutrition, we should increase the vegetable and fruits, should be continually be provided to supply more vitamin and mineral. As we learned that when having obese people, that also increasing the risk of micronutrient deficiency. So by providing a lot of vegetable and fruits, so we may provide the vitamin and mineral requirements. And for those who looks okay, physically, but actually has the problem with micronutrient deficiencies, as we learn from our slide, then we have to increase the micronutrients which are deficient. For example, for the pregnant women, I think our government has recognized the importance of multi-micronutrient supplements rather than iron and folic acid only. All right. And for adolescents, especially for the girls, our government actually provide the iron and folic acid. But if we learn that in Indonesia, there is possibility that people having more than one micronutrient deficiency. So I would suggest that we have to provide also not only iron and folic acid, but also zinc, vitamin C, and also calcium. As we learn that our people actually deficient in iron, zinc, calcium, vitamin A, D, E, and C. So I think that's my answer. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Prof. Rimbawan. Now we go to the last questions. I think this is from Mirza from Universitas Andalas, and the questions for Dr. Jaliza. What is the quality of amino acids from fermented food products compared to protein foods of animal origin? Can they be used as substitute up to 100%?
Okay, thank you, Mirza, for the questions. So by fermentation technology, fermented foods could improve the amino acid quality because it can enhance the digestibility and bioavailability. However, it's not change the amino acid profile of the product. So it suggests that can partially replace animal proteins, but require combining different plant sources. completely substituting 100% animal proteins may not be ideal for populations because fermentation only could enhancing the digestibility by breaking down the complex protein into a smaller peptides. So with plant-based protein products, it's not meaning that remove it entirely, but combine it with the other products, includes the animal proteins.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. JJ. And we hope that the questions from the speaker can answer the curiosity from the participants. So, as we wrap up the discussion, I'd like to thank all the participants for their engagement and our inspiring speaker for their insightful contributions. So, from Dr. Husna, we learn how to knowing and understanding our gene types and its impact to our health and how we can maintain and personalize our diet for a better outcome. And from Prof. Rimbawan, we know that nutrition issue in Indonesia is very complex, namely the triple burden of malnutrition. Nowadays, people in Indonesia are facing higher risk for non-communicable diseases due to dietary habits and lifestyles. However, if we see comprehensively, there is multidimensional causes of those nutritional issues. And lastly, from Dr. Jaliza, we know that plant-based protein is a growing trend in many countries, including Indonesia. Plant-based protein has many benefits for health, but also some health concerns. So it must be consumed or used after passing several procedures to eliminate its effect. In Indonesia, there are so many potential to develop plant-based products. So once again, thank you very much for our inspiring speaker. Now we would like take the documentations. So please turn on your camera and use the virtual background. And I will give it to the panitia. So please give the sign to take the picture page by page.
Bapak Ibu yang terhormat, kita sebentar lagi akan mendokumentasikan kegiatan kita hari ini. Untuk itu kami mohon Bapak Ibu dapat menyalakan kameranya. Di sini ada beberapa slide, jadi nanti mohon untuk bisa ditahan posenya. Untuk slide pertama, kita lanjut ke slide yang kedua. Selanjutnya slide ketiga. Selanjutnya slide keempat. Dan terakhir slide kelima. Baik, terima kasih. Silahkan kepada Bu Amel untuk dilanjutkan.
Okay, thank you. And now we would like to give the certificate for our speakers. The first one will be given to Dr. Nurul Husna Shafi. Can the certificate appear on the screen or not? Okay. Okay, and the second certificate will be given to Professor Dr. Rimbawan. And the last certificate will be given to Dr. Jaliza Mutia Azra. So that's all for our presentation today. Now I will hand it back to the MC for the closing sessions. Thank you very much for your attention and great participations. And I'm sorry for my mistake. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much to our distinguished speakers, Dr. Nurul, Profesor Rimbawan, and also Dr. Dializa Mutia Azra. Bapak Ibu yang saya hormati, untuk link absensi telah tersedia pada kolom chat. Silahkan Bapak Ibu akses dan Ibu isikan absensinya karena sebagai salah satu syarat untuk Bapak Ibu memperoleh sertifikat. So ladies and gentlemen, The link for the attendance already prepared on the chat column, so please fill in the attendance form as to get the certificate for our seminar today. And ladies and gentlemen, we have come to the end of our webinar today. But before we close our webinar, I would like to inform you that we will have our third webinar series on Thursday, on November 20, on Thursday, November 28, 2024 at 2 p.m., the same time as today's webinar. So please, for further information, you can access on our Instagram at fkm_unan, or you can also access the information at our website, or you can also see the information in the flyer that is shown on your screen, or you can also access the information on our website at fkm.unan.ac.id. So our third webinar series will be held on November 28 on Thursday at 9 a.m. And for our next webinar, it will also have 2 SKP from IACMI. So I think that's all from me. Thank you very much. And we also would like to express our gratitude to our speakers once again, to Dr. Nurul, to Professor Rimbawan, and also Dr. Dializa. So see you on Thursday. Wabillahi taufiq wal
Okay.
hidayah. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you very much.
Thank you
Allow
very
me
much.
to leave the sessions. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Terima kasih, Prof. Rim.
Aku error. Tak mau masuk.
Oke, sudah.